Play a sustain just like any other note, but instead of cutting it off, let it ring out. Try it at your own pace. Let's try to keep the sustain going a little longer. Keep your finger on the 3rd fret the whole time, and be sure you don't cut it off by touching the string. Play loud enough to carry this nice. Here's a riff with that sustain in it. Here's that riff again, but let's just listen to it. You can play after that. Outstanding. Okay, now let's put it all together in a song. Here goes. Perfect performance. Okay. You're ready to apply this to a practice track now. You're good. Excellent. Here's a riff with that sustain in it. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Now your turn. Let's try that again. All right, time for some slides. Slides are pretty straightforward. Just play a note like usual, then Keep your finger pressed down and slide up to the next note. Let's just try that. Nailed it. Now let's try sliding down the neck. We'll use a different finger this time. This is pretty much the same thing we just did, but in reverse. Let's try that. Be sure you're on the right fret. You're not sliding quite far enough. You want to get all the way down to the 3rd fret. Be sure you're on the nice one. All right, let's use that slide to play a riff. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Play it now. Sweet. Now, let's play another riff that has 2 slides, one going up and one going down. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Now your turn. Let's try that again. That was good. You're ready for the practice track now. Here goes. Okay, one of the most typical guitar-sounding things you can do is bending the strings. Bending the string makes the notes pitch higher. The more you bend, the higher it goes. For now, let's just do a little one, what's called a half step. Let's try that. Awesome. Here's a riff using that half-step bend. Listen to this riff one more time before you play it. Okay, try playing it now. That was awesome. Let's try a bend that's a little bigger, a whole step bend, starting from the 12th fret this time. Try it at your own pace. This bend starts on the 12th fret of the G string. Be sure you're on the right fret. Nice! Now check out this riff with a whole step bend, starting on the 14th fret. Here's the riff again. Listen to it and play it. Your turn. Let's try that again. Here's that riff again. Let's slow it down for a minute. Let's try it again, a little slower. As a general rule, you want to bend the string in the direction that gives you the most room. That means that the high E, B, and G strings will get pushed up, but the low E, A, and D strings will actually get pulled down. Here's what that looks like. Let's try that. Be sure you're on the right fret. I think you're on the wrong string there. You want to be on the D string. I think you're on the wrong string there. You're a little short of hitting that final note. Just bend the string a little bit more. Use your first, second, and third fingers together to do the bend. Sweet. Cool. Let's put that bend into a riff now. Listen to this riff one more time before you play it. Play it now. That was awesome. Okay, now let's put it all together in a song. Here goes. Better. You can really spice up your playing with hammer-ons and pull-offs. Let's take hammer-ons for starters. After you play one note, you can play another one by just pressing your finger down without picking again. Play it now. Perfect. Let's put that hammer-on into a riff. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Play it now. That was pretty sweet. All right, now for the hammer-on's evil twin, the pull-off. It's really not bad at all. You just play a note, then release it with a tiny pluck to play the lower note without re-picking. Play it now. You got that one down. Let's try playing a riff using that pull-off. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Now your turn. Nice one. The fun really starts when you start connecting hammer-ons and pull-offs in a row. All you're gonna do here is put the hammer-on and pull-off together. That's 3 notes for the price of 1. Now your turn. That was awesome. Here's the kind of riff you can get using hammer-ons and pull-offs together. the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Now your turn. Excellent. Okay, now let's put it all together in a song. Here goes. You're ready to apply this to a practice track now. Here goes. Flawless performance. Tremolo just means to play a note over and over again really fast. There isn't a whole lot to it. You just keep on picking. You're ready to apply this to a practice track now. Here goes. getting better. Palm mutes aren't just for single notes. They work great with double stops too. Check this out. And here's a riff using that palm mute double stop. This one's a little more melodic. This little guy is called a capo. A capo clips onto the guitar neck and presses all the strings down at the same fret, so they're all at a higher pitch. The cool thing is, it lets you play a song you already know in one key in a totally different key without having to change what your hand does. So if there's a capo on the second fret, a G chord becomes an A, a C becomes a D, and so on. This can be super useful when a guitar part uses a lot of open strings, but you need to play it in a different key. Capos attach to the guitar in different ways. Some are just spring-loaded clamps that you just squeeze to put them on, take off, or move. And others have a screw that lets you tighten or loosen the capo. Regardless of which type you use, they all do basically the same thing and can be a really helpful piece of gear to keep around. We do our best to keep you in tune while you're playing the game, but you'll want to know how to tune your guitar when you take your show on the road. You'll want to start with some kind of reference pitch, like a low E on the piano, or a note from another guitarist. Now adjust the tuning peg for the low E string until it matches the note. Take your time and get it as close as you can. Once that low note is tuned, you can tune the rest of the strings based on it. Now play the 5th fret of the low E string. This is an A. This is the same note that the next string should be. So let's tune that next string to this note. Now, if you play the 5th fret of the A string, you get a D. That's what the next string down should be, so you can tune that one next. Same thing for this next one. 5th fret of the D string gives you the note for the next string, a G. This one is a little different. You have to tune the 4th fret instead of the 5th, but the idea is the same. Play the 4th fret of the G string to get a B, then tune the next string to that. Just one more to go. Now we're back to the 5th fret of the B string to get an E, so we can tune to that. It's a good idea to double check at the end to make sure everything sounds right. If something sounds wrong, you can go back and fix it. Of course, if you don't have anything to tune to, you can just tune to whatever your low E string happens to be. You'll sound okay if you're the only one playing, but you might not sound so good playing with another instrument. might find that new strings need to be retuned more than older ones. This is normal. Once they get stretched out, they'll stay in tune longer. You can also use natural harmonics to tune your guitar. The 5th fret harmonic on the low E string should be the same pitch as the 7th fret harmonic on the A string. Play both, then adjust the A string tuning until they match perfectly. Then the 5th fret harmonic of the A string should match the 7th fret harmonic of the D string. This pattern holds for every pair of adjacent strings except for the G and B strings. For the B string, you can tune it to the 7th fret harmonic of the low E string. Some people find it's a little easier to hear the difference between the notes with these harmonics because it's a purer tone. It might take a few extra minutes to get your guitar tuned up, but it's worth it. Be sure you're in tune every time you play. It's worth the time it takes to make sure everything sounds good. Play guitar long enough, and you're going to need to change your strings. Over time, they get old and crusty and hard to keep in tune. Or one might break and you'll have to replace it. If you don't feel like doing it yourself, you can always take it to a guitar shop and have them do it for you. If you want to do it yourself, though, here's how. To start off, you'll need to have a few things handy. You'll need the new strings and wire cutters. You'll also need a surface big enough to lay your guitar down flat. Keep in mind that guitars are designed to be strung in different ways. We'll demonstrate with this guitar, but yours may work differently, and you'll have to account for that. If you're unsure of what to do, your local guitar shop guy will probably be glad to help you out. Turn the tuning peg to loosen the string. Be sure you're loosening it and not tightening it. When the string starts to slack, you can cut it with those wire cutters. Then you can unwind the end of the string and pull it out of the post. Watch out for the ends, though. They can be really sharp. You can go ahead and pull the other end of the string out of the bridge, too. Take the new string out of the package. Be sure you're getting the right string. It's no fun realizing halfway through that you put a string in the wrong place. Now, feed the pointy end of the new string through the hole in the bridge. Feed it all the way through and bring it up to the tuning peg post. The post probably has a little hole in it, so you'll feed the string through that. Leave some slack so you can throw a loop over the post. Then bend the end of the string up at a 90-degree angle to keep it in place. Hold the string down while you turn the peg so that it winds down, not up the post. You can use the string winder if you want. Be sure as you tighten that the string is sitting in the right grooves at the bridge and nut of the guitar. Keep on turning, and eventually you'll get some tension on the string. Then you can start bringing it up to the right pitch. With all that tension the guitar puts on them, new strings will stretch, and that'll make them go out of tune. So it's a good idea to pull up on the string a few times to pre-stretch it. That'll help them settle in a little faster. Now you can use those wire cutters to cut off the end of the string. Just make sure you don't cut it off too short, or it might slip out of the post. The other strings will pretty much work the same way. Just remember that if you have a 3-and-3 headstock, the pegs on the other side will turn in the opposite direction. So that's the basic idea. Again, remember your guitar might work a little differently, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask at your local guitar store. So you're ready to take your guitar skills out into the world and show them off away from Rocksmith. Congratulations. For starters, you'll need an amp and a 1/4-inch guitar cable to connect it to your guitar. Different amps have varying sound character and features, so do some homework before settling on the one that's best for you. Start out with your amp's volume all the way down. Then plug your guitar in and turn on the amp. Now slowly turn up the volume until it gets to a good level. Most amps will have several knobs for controlling volume, EQ, and other effects. Experiment with your amp settings to get different sounds. Some amps will have effects like distortion, tremolo, or reverb built in. You can hook up foot pedals between your guitar and your amp to get even more sounds. Once you've got everything hooked up and your sound dialed in, you're ready to rock. An amplifier is just what it sounds like. You plug your guitar into it, and it makes it louder. You can get amps where the part that amplifies the signal, that's called the head, is separate from the speaker cabinet. Or you can get an all-in-one amplifier called a combo amp. Combos are generally more portable and probably a better starting point for a beginner. The two major kinds of amps are tube amps and solid-state amps. Tube amps are usually warmer and more natural, but they tend to be more expensive than solid-state amps. There are also hybrid amps that combine the two. Another popular option is amp modeling, where the characteristic sound of an amplifier is emulated digitally. You can find amp modeling in standalone combo amps or as computer software. It's really a great way to get a whole lot of very different sounds out of a single amp. The size and number of speakers in your combo amp or cabinet will also affect the sound. 1x12 means the amp has one 12-inch speaker. 4x10 means it has four 10-inch speakers. Other things you might look into for an amp are built-in effects, such as reverb, chorus, tremolo, or delay. You'll probably also want to consider the look and styling of the amplifier before you make your decision. Amps often have different channels for clean and overdrive, but a lot of players keep their amp clean and get distortion through a pedal for greater control. There are lots of things to keep in mind when you're looking for an amp, but ultimately, you can't beat just taking your guitar to the music store, plugging in, and seeing which one sounds best to you. You'll need a cable if you want to hook your guitar up to an amp. The cable you need is a 1/4-inch instrument cable. If you want to go through any pedals, you'll need some extra cables to connect those too. The length of the cable is up to you. How far do you want to be able to roam around? You can also get short little cables for chaining your effects pedals together if you're interested in doing that. Guitar picks come in a variety of shapes and thicknesses. Beginners are often inclined to start with a thinner pick because it feels easier to play that way. Before long, though, you'll probably notice that you get better results with a slightly thicker pick, though the exact thickness will be up to you and your playing style. Luckily, picks aren't too pricey, so it doesn't hurt to go out and buy a whole bunch of different ones and find the one you like the best. Here's another pro tip. Picks are small and easy to lose track of, and they have a way of wandering off within seconds of putting them down. So be sure you keep plenty of picks stashed away. The standard guitar tuning is E-A-D-G-B-E, but there are plenty of reasons why you might want to tune differently. A tuning that comes up a lot is called drop D. That's like normal tuning, but the low E string is tuned down to a D. The cool thing about drop D is that the lowest 3 strings form a power chord, so you can play power chords with just one finger. There are also open tunings, which means that you're tuned to a chord. For example, in open G tuning, strumming the open strings would give you a G major chord. Open tunings are especially useful for slide guitar. Another tuning you see a lot is E-flat tuning. That's just like regular tuning, but all 6 strings are down a half step. You might use E-flat to play in a more friendly range for a vocalist. Some people also find that E-flat tuning sounds heavier and the extra slack can make bends easier. These tunings can be a lot of fun to play around with and open up a lot of new sounds you can't get from standard tuning. We've all heard those crazy, loud, incredibly high squeals that guitarists play sometimes. You can get those sounds with a technique called a pinch harmonic. This is a tough thing to do, so we're going to take it slow. The basic idea here is just like the natural harmonics we learned before. You lightly touch the string at a specific spot to get a higher pitched note. The difference here is that it's the flesh of your thumb on your picking hand that lightly touches the string a split second after you pick it. You'll need to choke up on the pick quite a bit to do this. You only want a tiny sliver sticking out. Then, as you pick the string, the side of your thumb brushes it to make the harmonic. The thumb actually touches just after you make the note, not at the same time. Try doing it slow first. Once you've got a handle on that, try doing it all in one motion. It's sort of a digging motion, scooping the pick up through the string, but this happens so fast that there's no real pause. The thumb touches before you hear the regular note ring out, so all you hear is the harmonic. Your fret hand can fret different notes while you play the harmonics. That'll give you access to a bigger variety of pitches. These also only work at specific spots. Let's find a few. The location of these node points, that's what they're called, will change slightly based on the note you're fretting, so you might have to mess around to find the different harmonics. Another thing to think about with pinch harmonics is your guitar tone. They're pretty soft on their own, so you really need a nice high-gain tone to get those epic squealies. One really great thing about these pinch harmonics is that you can add bends, vibrato, and other effects, which is what really gives them that awesome metallic singing quality. It's tempting to think that playing music is just about playing the right notes at the right time. That as long as you get the notes right, you're nailing a song and sounding good. But there's more to it than that. A big part of what makes music sound good is the way you shape the notes that you play. These different ways of shaping the notes are called articulations. Let's start with a basic riff with everything just picked normally. Here's that riff again, but let's just listen to it. You can play after that. Now your turn. Let's try that again. Here's that riff again. Let's try that a little slower and then build up your speed. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Use that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Here's that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Here's that riff again. Let's give that another shot. Let's try that again. Here's that riff again. Let's give that another shot.